Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here. My name is Daniel, and I'm the events coordinator for the Office of Councilwoman Ina Vernikov, who organized this co-naming and really wanted to be here, but unfortunately had an unforeseen medical situation and was not able to come. I will now read her statement. Although I never had the honor of meeting Rabbi Burg, I did have the opportunity to communicate with him several times during my campaign. I quickly learned that Rabbi Burg was a cherished and beloved rabbi, husband, brother, and mentor to many. From the time he assumed the position of rabbi in Ocean Avenue Jewish Center, Rabbi Burg immediately became involved with the local community. His feeling was a good neighbor policy and immediately contacted all the Jewish and secular leaders in the community to have an ongoing dialogue. When events occurred in the neighborhood that were anti-Semitic, crime, or unrest, he had a group to take action. He was always at the forefront of protecting the community through his involvement in the 61st Precinct Council and training new police officers in the ways of the Orthodox religion. He would bring them into the synagogue and explain how the holidays work. He was an ardent member of the Community Board 15, where his wife was the district manager. He served on many committees, and he was involved in Kings Bay Y, where he helped start a Holocaust remembrance program. He was also involved with Kojo Flatbush, a volunteer chaplain at New York Community Hospital, and a member of Yeshiva Rambam's Board of Governors. Through the Kings Highway Democratic Club, where his wife was also the female Democratic district leader, he worked with all the politicians for the benefit of the community. He founded, together with Rabbi Portnoy, the Council of Jewish Organizations of Bay Park because he felt our area needed its own voice. He opened the synagogue doors to National Council of Synagogue Youth and influenced the lives of hundreds of young people. He was honored by the Sheepshead Historical Society for helping Stephen Miller with his Historical Society. Rabbi Burg was Rabbi Mord Asra of the Ocean Avenue Jewish Center, Congregation Pri Eitz Chaim, for close to 45 years at the time of his death. And under his leadership, the Jewish Center created numerous programs for its membership, as well as the entire community. It is my privilege to co-name this street just down the way from where he served for over 4 decades in his honor and remembrance of a beloved religious and community leader. I would now like to introduce Ozzy Heyman, the chairman of the board of Ocean Avenue Jewish Center, Congregation Pri Eitz Chaim, and a member of the Community Board 15.
Thank you, Daniel. First, I want to thank everybody for coming because you're honoring my rabbi. When I say that, I'm wrong, because he wasn't really just my rabbi. He was everybody's rabbi. He was a man, Melvin Berg, who had a title rabbi, but he lived the life of being a rabbi. It wasn't just a title that he had. And for that reason, it's so important that we unveil this sign in a few minutes to let the community know, because he was the leader of our Jewish Center, but he also was very involved in the community. And he should be recognized, and it's an example, his life is an example for everyone else to emulate. I'd like to thank some people for coming, and also we'll have certain people talking, but I'd like to thank Rabbi Stephen Burg, Rabbi Burg's son and his children, Rabbi Burg's grandchildren, Daniel Burg, I don't know where he went to. There you are, Daniel, I'm sorry, for making the trip. Both had to come back from their new communities to get here, but they grew up here and know the area well. Their sister is in Israel, Barbara, and I was able to speak to her on the phone a few minutes ago. And of course, Rebitzenberg couldn't be here. She's in Israel, but she did want this to take place before Rosh Hashanah. And of course, we are doing that. And you know, if people don't know, the rabbi did pass away on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. And thank God he was able to participate, I would say fully, in the first day's service. And that really was a miracle looking back at history. So we are so thankful, every congregant is, and of course all the family members are. So I think we should get started and move along. So Assemblywoman Weinstein, thank you so much for coming. Good to see you. If you'd like to say a few words, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ozzy. So, to say Rabbi Burg was an overwhelming positive fixture in our community is an understatement. As you heard, not only was he an important religious leader in our neighborhood, but his reach was much beyond that. He was an active community member. When the Harama Senior Center needed a place to live in our community and had to move, he welcomed the center, the seniors, with open arms. And he continued to be there and support the center. And as the community changed a little bit and the membership of the center changed a little bit, he was even more involved with that. And just so important, his involvement in making sure that the Holocaust studies and education was such an important part of our community, and not just for the Jewish members of our community, but something particularly also that the young people could learn. And he made sure that his son came to several events and was a keynote speaker at several events that we had at the Kings Bay Y, and that was so important. I know you did it out of love and your love for the subject, but because your father asked, how could you say no? And you couldn't say no to Rabbi Burg when he asked you to do something. So I'm so pleased to be here. Hopefully this sign will remind people of the merit of Rabbi Burg, but also as time goes on, maybe some people come and say, oh, who's Rabbi Burg? And then we'll have an opportunity to explain to them all of his good work for our community. So I want to thank the councilwoman for helping to arrange this date, and Ozzy and the members of the congregation, president, and all of the members of the congregation here, and the community members that are here to celebrate Rabbi Burg's life.
Thank you so much, Assemblywoman Weinstein. And I want to echo your thanks of the councilwoman, because her staff, Daniel, who's here right now, thank you. I also worked with Troy Olson behind the scenes, and of course the councilwoman pushed it through. But in terms of getting everything started, there was one person. I was going to get this thing rolling, meaning getting the street co-named, as it's called, for Rabbi Burg, but it turned out that Teresa Scavo, the chairwoman of Community Board 15, contacted me before I could contact her to get it started. Teresa, do you want to say a couple of words?
Yeah. Good afternoon. Rabbi Burg and I were friends. Stephen, we were friends. Whether it was my friendship with your mother that enhanced my friendship with the rabbi. We came from two different worlds, yet there were two things that we always agreed upon: our love of this community and our family. There was not a time that the rabbi and I were either discussing police issues, police council issues, how could we get more coverage for the Jewish holidays, or you, your sister, your brother. Family was number one. So please, God, may his soul rest in everlasting peace. And I know right now he is staring down at us, loving this immensely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresa, for those words, and also for what you have done to get this going. Next, I would like to introduce Councilman Ari Kagan, who was a surprise. I saw him coming and didn't even recognize him. So, Ari, could you please come up? He's been a hard worker, newly elected, not so newly now that it's September already, but he's officially in the district over there, but he cares about our community and is very active. So, Ari?
Thank you, Ozzy. So it's not about districts. Rabbi Melvin Burg was my very, very good friend for a long time. So, and he helped everybody, every community, especially seniors. He cared a lot about children. So I'm very happy today, actually, so, because now his name will be forever in this. It's a very proper place, by the way, and I love to be with you. Thank you for invitation. Thank you to community board. I feel good today because he deserves this recognition. He always gave his advice, always picked up my phone calls, regardless of any kind of titles. Before I was elected to anything, so he was very generous person, very smart, shared his wisdom, caring. So every time I talked to him, I felt like he gave me very good advice. So I'm very grateful to him. Thank you so much for remembering his memory. Thank you very much.
Ari Kagan, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate that. I know what your schedule is like, so thank you. Another surprise is the commanding officer of citywide community affairs, Inspector Taylor, is here and would like to say a few words. Inspector?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ozzy. Great work I'm seeing, bringing everything together. I'm Inspector Richie Taylor. I'm Commanding Officer of Community Affairs Outreach for the New York City Police Department. On behalf of Mayor Eric Adams and Police Commissioner Keyshawn Sewell, working with leaders, working with people who have the best interests of the community. It's what we do. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. I remember Rabbi Burg very, very well, dealing with all the elected officials, that he always made sure that the police department's resources were always utilized as best as possible. So I really thank Councilwoman Ina Vernikov. I know the Councilwoman, a lot of work to put this together. Thank you so much, Councilman Ari Kagan, for being here as well. Great words. Assemblywoman Helly Weinstein, who I know for forever. Thank you so much. Krista Scavo, he spoke beautifully. Just everyone coming together. I know the sentiment here today is as a memory. I know his son, Steve, and I know his other son, Daniel, do great work. It just means it's a little more emotional for me because I knew Rabbi Burg and I knew how much I looked forward to seeing him, to working with him as a young police officer. I wasn't always this rank. As a young police officer, just seeing the love he had for his fellow person, for the community, it resonates. I know that everyone knows now. Randy Cena, it's like our family. I know I just found out that she is his niece. She's Rabbi Burg's niece. And Jason Capel's here. Great work that you do. Just everyone together. Thank you for coming together, for really leading the way. I know Rabbi Burg is looking down upon us now with a smile, with love. Right before Rosh Hashanah, he couldn't be more proud of nachas that he sees with everyone here. And I'll always try to live up to that. I know everyone else will. Thank you so much again. Thank you, Ozzy. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Inspector Taylor. We also are privileged to have Rabbi Reuven Boshnak. He is the current rabbi of Ocean Avenue Jewish Center, and I'd like to ask him to say a few words. Rabbi?
Thank you, Ozzy. Thank you. It's a real merit to be part of this, this historic shul, this historic congregation. And I noted on Shabbos, that in fact the Rabbi Burg Way sign is after the shul. The shul is down the block over here, and yet here we are on Avenue V. Oftentimes when we give directions, we say go to the corner of U and Ocean, and you'll see the shul. It's a bit ahead. And I feel really it's so apropos because Rabbi Burg was really always leading the way. And in fact, to say that it's leading the way is a double entendre in English. It's not just a way is just something that you put your car on, but it's a path that you tread, and it's a direction into the future. The word way really is indicative of leadership. So when we come to this corner, we look up and we remind ourselves this shul is following Rabbi Burg's way. He was at the front, and he's instructing us to keep our eyes into the future, moored by our tradition, but with a caring eye towards this community at large. Thank you so much, and it's a great merit to be part of this assembly.
Brent Boshnak, thank you so much. And as we're having speakers from the synagogue, I'd like to call our congregation leader, president of the shul, Mitchell Hill.
I literally have an advantage over all of you. I really consider myself Rabbi Burg's best friend. Stephen and Daniel were very happy about that because he would call me instead of calling them, and they can vouch for that. But the problem with all the things the rabbi did is you miss so many other things that you don't even realize what he did. How he was involved in Jewish funerals throughout the city. When anybody had a problem, they would call him. He had the phone number. I don't know if we're supposed to know that, but he had the phone number of the city person who handled funerals. He was on the OU Kashrus committee, and he would go to meetings at. From my personal life, the problem with the rabbi, and he used to say it about somebody else, but the problem, you couldn't say, change your mind with him, because a minute after you asked him for something, it was done. It didn't take 5 minutes, it was done, so you couldn't change your mind with him. He was literally my best friend. We spoke almost every day. He complained about his problems and I complained about mine. And he was a dear friend, and he was really a great guy, and anybody who knows him had some doing with him that he helped them in some way, in some small way, in some large way. And it was really our blessing. We're going into the new year, but our blessing was to know him, for him to be part of our family and be part of our life. And I've known the rabbi the whole time he was here. I was here before him, and I really feel blessed that I knew him. And we're very honored to everybody, to the Congress, the city council people, and everybody who's involved who came out today. We feel honored that you honored our rabbi and our friend, and from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you. And hopefully we can continue to be part of the community that we are, and we'll continue to work with the community for going further. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. Now it's important that we get to the reason we're here, and then that is the unveiling of the street sign. But one more thing, very quickly, I'd like to acknowledge two rabbis from the synagogue who are, I see, present. I hope I'm not missing anyone else. But Rabbi Yisrael Bendelstein in the back, thank you for coming. And Rabbi Cohn hiding, not seriously, but over there to my left, thank you also for coming. It's good to see you. Now to move on, because we don't want to drag this on, Rabbi Stephen Burg, who is, of course, Rabbi Burg's son, and we'll start with the family, and he can introduce the members of his family.
Sure. I just want to say really thank you to all of you. I think we all know two things. One is my dad would have been here 2 hours early, like waiting on the corner for things to start, which is why Daniel and I came 15 minutes before. And the other part is he would have loved this. This is like, we were saying it's bittersweet. I want to thank Teresa, and I want to thank Ozzy, and the councilwoman. Where's Daniel? There he is. This is like, when our entire family heard about this, we're just like, that's perfect. That's absolutely, like, it made so much sense. We spoke to my mom, who had made Aliyahs, living near Barbara, who's right there, by the way. We're going to wave, watching this all. My mother, we spoke to her, she said, look, the important thing is that it's up before Rosh Hashanah, it's up before the high holidays, that people, when they walk to synagogue, could derive inspiration from that sign and remembering who he is. Also, definitely want to thank the 61st Precinct. My dad, every time a new captain would come in, he would sit down with him, and they were like, I can't tell you how many times I went down there. And I think the most important thing to remember about my dad is he really was a servant of God. He really believed that part of godliness was taking care of your community. And I don't know if people know this or not, he had many opportunities throughout the years to go. Many rabbis kind of moved synagogues. He never had any desire. He's here for close to 45 years, 43, 44 years. And this was his family, and you don't leave family, so he never left his post. And as I've talked about a lot, that last day of Rosh Hashanah, and he had been sick for many months through COVID, and he literally that last day he went up to the bima for the first time. He gave a drasha. I blew shofar. He called out all the blowings, and he was really he was his last day at his post. And that was, if he had to pick a last day, that I really believe that would have been that last day. And I think it was a gift from God to allow him to be there for his community and for his family to do that. So for us, for the, I guess, biological family, the extended family, we're just absolutely thrilled that everyone could be here together to do this for him. It really means a lot. And Rabbi Boshnak, who's doing a fantastic job at the shul, we saw each other, unfortunately, at a funeral. But I remember him telling me that people still refer to it as Rabbi Burg shul, and that also is very touching. Also, Daniel's here, and Barbara, as I said, is on that phone, and my dad's grandkids. And as Teresa said, all he would do is talk about them all day long. So I just think it's appropriate maybe just to ask all the grandkids to come up to, I guess, kind of give a talk. I don't know what you do exactly, Daniel. I guess the official way to do this, but all the grandkids come up. I'll say the third time. All the grandkids should come up. Here, I'll take the sign. Oh, Natan. Can someone take the videotape from Natan so he can come up? The camera, there we go. Abby, you give me this. Okay. Is there a countdown here? Give it to the grandkids. I guess, okay, guys, everyone grab a hold of the rope. All the grandkids. Okay, we're going to see if we can hit Neck Road here. It's very exciting. 1, 2, 3. Hey.
Rabbi, thank you so much. One thing that I noticed is that if we look at the sign now, and I think Rabbi Burg mentioned it, that the sun is shining on the sign, and that might be a very divine symbol. I think that's a beautiful thing. I just want to make sure, I hope I didn't miss anything, but I think the important part of the ceremony is concluded, and I think very important is that I say on behalf of the congregation and the community board, thank you all so much for coming. Some of the community board members are here, but the community is here. That says a lot. So thank you very much, everybody. Rabbi Boshnak, thank you. Daniel, and of course the councilwoman's work was invaluable because this has to be legislated, and she pushed it through the council, and most of these street co-namings take 2 years, and it's just under a year. So she deserves a lot of credit along with her staff. Everybody, thank you. And for those who celebrate Lashana Tova, have a great year. Everybody have a great Jewish New Year.
Hold on. Get back in that place. I have to stretch, so this is my back stretch. Okay, thank you. I got it already. I'm clicking in the thing. I got it. Oh, now I got the Teresa. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. I got everyone. Even thank you for moving my name. Got it? You got my mother too. Happy birthday.